They have their new album out, Verbogen. Let's talk about it and see what we think. Death Metal Pug is next. Welcome back to Death Metal Pug. I'm Necrotic Pugland. I want to be a rock star when I grow up. The purpose of this is to have fun and talk about music. If for some reason we can help out your band, project, or business, please reach out to us at deathmetalpug@gmail.com. I'd like to thank Ollie Sykes for being on last week's episode. Hulder released Verbogen August 7th, 2026, third full release length from this project. I don't think you could be into extreme music and not run across this band in 2020, 2021, somewhere along that timeline. Hulder was introduced to us as a one-woman black metal project. I'm like, what's her name? So this is what we found out. Marliese Boisert, Beuwsaert was her birth or maiden name. Marliese Osborne is her current legal or professional name after marriage. And Mars is what they refer to as her informal nickname. 2018 through 2020, Hulder released a smattering of lo-fi black metal I later saw referred to as medieval black metal. Historically, the singles and compilations have been traditional second wave black metal done well. Not weird, not with like clean vocals or overly complex arrangements, just good old black metal. I think a lot of stuff has been collected for compilation albums called De Opering van something. It's Dutch for summoning of medieval darkness. People like Strike That. People really like the song Bestial Forms of Humanity. It's got like a good catchy dark throne, but not really dark throne kind of riff that carries the song, mixed with primal lyrics that really hit for folks. I also like the song Implements of Hell 2, which just sounds like a guy who pressed record on a boombox before ripping into black metal. It's not quite a full album, but they did also start to make hints at the next album with even more songs released. Probably most noteworthy is the single or two-song EP collection called Embraced by Darkness. Hulder, in my opinion, have never really been a playlist or singles type of band. Its albums are better as a whole, and early 2021's album God Slastering, Hymns of a Forlorn Peasantry, is probably the best example. I swear, up until we prepped for this today, I thought it was God Slaughtering. Hymns of the Farming Class about defying God. This album is not necessarily a rip your face off kind of experience. It's not the most vicious black metal you'll hear this year, yet it is constructed under the black metal principles. It does use synths to layer over an atmosphere to it, done at varying levels throughout the album, and that added a subdued sense of what you'd call like a medieval melody to it. On God Slastering, the first song, Upon Frigid Winds, starts with 1 second of just sharp synths that needs to be kind of heard to understand. It's a unique way to start an album that I've never heard before. The album is broken up into two parts with an instrumental track about 6 minutes long that breaks up the album. And what's slick and done well about it is I don't skip any of the tracks on the album, really. It's difficult to like pick a favorite track from the album though, as I think it's probably best experienced as a whole, but axe to my head, Lowland Famine is probably it. There's something about that track that's just like smooth or flowing to it, and the creepy synth work are almost like ancient or medieval synth generated type sounds that make that song have an interesting appeal to it. Otherwise, I'd say the most sing-along track is Creature of Demonic Majesty. That stands out, and really the first 3 songs before the break stand out on the album and really launch it off in a great way. I don't know if listening to it without knowing, you could say that that's a female doing vocals. And I don't know if it's like sexism, but I did hear about Hulder before I listened to Hulder, and I put it off a little bit. I did not hear it within the relatively the first couple of months when it came out, but after multiple people I trusted brought it up and brought up the band, I'm like, okay, I should listen to this, and I'm glad I did. And when I did, I listened to it for like 3 days straight. The album Godslastering does have a bit of a homemade feel to it, a real good homemade feel to it, but by today's like standards, it lacks like a beefiness to the modern production, which modern production has kind of led us to expect. But there was a charm to it that invited one to return and enjoy the full album ride. In 2022, Hulder released a really good 5-track, 26-minute EP, The Eternal Fanfare, moving away from self-release to 20 Buck Spin. This is probably an underrated EP that gave us a bit of a hint as to like what the later guitar tone will be on the forthcoming next album, Verses and Oath. Verses and Oath was ironically released on an unseasonably warm 58 degree in February 2024 and was the first album from Hulder where I anticipated the release. This album was released to a lot of anticipation and fanfare. I will say that I don't think it was a letdown, but I haven't found myself like returning to it all that often. I'm not sure why that is, other than just like quantity of quality music opportunities out there. I actually re-listened to this leading up to the next album here, and I think I should listen to it more. It's good. So now 20 Buck Spin, let them do whatever the fuck they want on this, as evidenced by the 90 seconds of a bird, which you would assume to be like a crow or raven or something, squawking before the album opens. The first thing you'll notice is the guitars are different. The production is a lot more upfront, punchier percussion, guitars tuned lower, or at least in a different tuning lower or something like that. After the Wind and Crows intro, the first song, Bows Ablaze, which blasts and rips your face off right out of the gate. And then when the vocals jump in about 1 minute in, it has just like a sweet cathartic release to it. The vocals are drenched in reverb on this song in particular and have a deeper kind of like raspy black metal growl to them. This album just has better like vocal hooks to it. The best example is the title track, Verses and Oath. Whenever she repeats that chorus, Verses and Oath, it just gets stuck in my head, standing out with those like furious drum kicks pumping in the background of that song. Sometimes the band, like on the prior album, will have a flurry of riffs, but what stands out on the song is how they do the thin melody on top to make it more distinguishable. Harken the End, track 2, is probably a good example of it, and it reminds me of a song that would be on Godslastering, but it's beefed up on steroids in the production manner mentioned, with the deeper guitars and just overall louder production on it. Strength is misconstrued as a weakness. Some knock Hulder for not enough variety in its music. Instead, I think they stick to the style, not varying from black metal without gimmicks. They add atmosphere or atmospheric tracks, but have not reached for like big clean female vocals or special guests or something really obtuse in that way, which I appreciate. The first and only time I saw Hulder live was touring on the Verses and Oath album. It was a Decibel tour with Necrofire, Devil Master, and Worm. The Chicago night was March 15th. That was 2004. I really enjoyed that night. Right now, they're already on tour with opening up for Dimmu Borgir simultaneously as this new album is coming out. I'm not going. I'm gonna wait and see if they go on a headline tour again. Ahead of this new album, we did have a 2-song single EP released in August or September last year. I can't remember. Like the prior EPs and singles and stuff, I think it showed us a bit of where the new album's direction is headed. These 2 songs balance the guitars into the background a bit more from the powerful Verses and Oath album. Stylistically, it's what you would expect from Hulder on the first song, but the second song, Zonestein, has a lot of clean vocals. Zonestein is Dutch for sunstone per Chat Jip. Acoustic guitars with clean female and male vocals on this thing. Probably a duet with her husband maybe. Zonestein's an acoustic folk track. I'm pretty sure it's not sung in English. Celtic, pagan, medieval. I'm not really an expert on that kind of stuff. I feel like the 2-song EP would have been a little better if the songs were switched in opposite order, but it plays around in a nice way. I read that with the release of the new album for Bolgan, she's out of the closet to let us know that her husband helps write the music, and he's been part of the band for a little bit here, at least touring and stuff like that. He's toured with her and been a part of the band for the last couple of years for now. I guess he's just being more upfront, and he's in the photos and stuff now. So is this new one from Hulder still got it, or have we moved into experimental territory? Why was the black metal show in the cemetery so quiet? Because the crowd was dead. What's the most played metal band in a graveyard? 6 Feet Under. What do you call a band started in a cemetery? An underground artist. After the intro, the opening song on Hulder's Verbogen, The Crowning, is the birth of an album that will take a few listens to absorb. The song is more dynamic than the black metal gloss across the song, varying tempos and guitars to kind of change it up. Watch out, Ron Burgundy, there's flute on this thing. The next song, The Blinding Oath, slows the pace at first, gets atmospheric, and then picks up some speed with the tremolo guitars and choral singing. The song feels like you're slogging down a path of tall grass on the either side of you, hoping that there's no trouble that comes along the route. The song Verbogen is probably overall the fastest track on the album and the shortest. It's just over 4 minutes in length. Oh, by the way, Verbogen is Dutch again, and it literally translates to enraged or incensed as far as I can tell. This seems like a cool guy to hang out with. But not this guy. He seems like a dumb fact on a Aborted's Manny Cult album. There's a track titled Verbogen as well. It's just an atmospheric piano track to break up that album though. I can't quite pinpoint it, but Hulder's Verbogen album, the whole album feels a bit more in the area of atmospheric black metal. Touches of Black Braid, but maybe that's just because I like Black Braid a bunch and I use that as my reference point. I feel like the album shifts some after the title track, or about halfway through the album. An album changing up halfway through isn't an unusual pattern for Hulder actually. It gets more slickly melodic with the song And We Shall Sing. It slips into a dreamy texture, like being quietly buried alive in a snowstorm. This is the first Hulder album where I was like, the drums sound really good. listening closely, as you know, I hope you do, you'll hear the cymbal work in the song Thy Blinding Oath, just adding like accents all over the place in a great way. And just has like a great sound to it when it hits those like cymbals in that thing. On the song In Blood and In Earth, the hi-hat stands out in an unexpectedly cool way as well. And I don't recall I don't recall the drum standing out so much on prior albums. Track View from Nameston has the deepest growls that we've heard from Hulder. Might be another member of the band, I'm not sure. The vocals on the whole album, they never get like shrill or high pitched or anything, staying really low. So what's different from the last one versus In Oath? As the 2-song EP leading up to this hinted, we've got more layered female vocals or chants, more folk, but not in a way where like you have to jam it in, or where it's like acoustic part and then black metal part and then acoustic part again. It's not built in like a shape-shifting or jarring way, but in an integrated way that doesn't make you hate the folkiness aspect to it. It has a God-slastering level of charm, but produced closer to verses in Oath, but it doesn't go so overbearing out of the speakers like verses in Oath does. I think different people will like different songs from this album. First few listens, I think the back half of the album, I like that maybe a little bit better so far. The production seems to get it right from the modern perspective. If you go lo-fi nowadays, you're doing it on purpose, right? But this is layered well and doesn't get too like awkwardly punchy or like take you out in that manner. I never liked the original logo that much. They changed it, and it's now a logo that I don't like that much either, and I don't know why they changed it, but it appears to have like leaves and roots to it or something, which I'm sure was on purpose to kind of match the themes of the music. The fact that Hulder rocked black metal so well should invite a new generation of kids to engage in it, and I have to believe, based off of seeing female-fronted bands in the past, that it will continue to engage women towards extreme music. Good black metal without weirdness to distinguish itself is good for some, but may not be good enough for folks really tenured in the genre who heard it all, so to speak. Is it good enough to return to over time, or would you pick up an old classic? Time will tell. At best, this is engaging black metal with nuances to keep it interesting. At worst, it's forgettable. Check out Hulder's Verblogen. The man on the streets, Jeremy, rocking this King Yosef shirt, who we saw open for Author and Punisher at Reggie's. I don't know anything about King Yosef, nor why there's a shopping cart in this photo, but here's the back of the shirt as well. Jeremy shots! Jeremy shots! Jeremy shots! Tyraels Ascension released Graveseeker. July 24th, 2026. Tyraels Ascension is a 5-piece from Olympia, Washington. They have another album from 2024 that I haven't checked out yet. Found this through AMG. Tyraels Ascension refers to the moment in Diablo lore where Tyrael, the Archangel of Justice, rises to a new state of being, either by taking on a higher role or transforming his nature, most notably when he becomes mortal, and later the aspect of wisdom. I don't really know what any of this means. The album is a concept fantasy trilogy following Tyrael, an angel descending into a ruined world to fight demonic forces, a narrative used as a metaphor for real human struggle, trauma, addiction, grief, and spiritual endurance. So if you want, there's an opportunity to nerd out with the theme. I understand there'll be like 3 parts or a trilogy or 3 albums to this or something, so Who gives a shit, right? What's the music like? I'd say like kind of mellow death. I feel a strong 2000s influence here. I hear As I Lay Dying vocals, and just like As I Lay Dying, the guitars are the best part of this thing. It's the dynamics of the guitars that get so much credit here, and they deserve it. Just when the vocals kind of pull me out of a song, the guitars step in to just sucker me back in, and it has a nice cathartic feel to it. One of the best examples is probably the song Ethereal. Guitars all over the place, not super down-tuned low, and they use like every fret and every string on the guitar, just riffs galore. Just when you think you have like a pattern or the song figured out, it changes the guitar riffs in a way that you do not see coming. The drums rock, but they're kind of in the back of the mix, keeping the guitars up front, which I'm okay with. This is completely different from Hulder, and the reason you should always check back with Death Metal Pug for the latest albums. I really do think As I Lay Dying vocals are a good reference point here. They don't have that cool Tim Lambethis like breathiness at the end of each word, and they don't throw in like clean good cop vocals on top of like every song either, so that's a huge bonus. If someone told me that this was from 2010, I probably would have believed them, other than it sounding really like slick and modern. I'm not trying to discourage you from engaging with this album. I think it's worth it, and I think there's a ton of stuff here to listen to. Shit, one of the flaws I think you could say about this album is it's too long, but that's just like bullshit critiques from like busy dudes like myself who would say something like that. But I think I probably would have left off the song Tears. I think it's trying to move like the album or story forward on it, so it's probably why it's there. Sometimes dorky, but sometimes metal AF. Guitar players, check out Tyraels' Ascension, Graveseeker. The cemetery's annual music festival was a huge success. Reviews said the atmosphere was to die for. The cemetery started a music festival. The tickets sold out before rigor mortis set in. The encore was so good, people were digging it. Don't do fentanyl, you'll end up dead. This is the only place where corpse paint is considered business casual. Tours in the area coming up. 6 Feet Under is at Reggie's August 11th. I can't make it. Hulder is at the Vic Theater August 14th. I can't make it. Mutilation Barbecue is at Reggie's August 14th. I can't make that one either. No, you're a poser. Fires in the Distance is at Subterranean September 5th. I will make that. Nequient is at the Burlington September 18th. Seriously considering that, just making sure I can go. Iron Maiden is at the Credit Union 1 Amphitheater September 22nd. I've had a ticket for that for over a year. Fetus, Sanguisuzabog at the House of Blues September 27th. I'm skipping it, but I might change my mind. And you have 2 to choose from on October 2nd. Revocation, Defeated Sanity, and Fuming Mouth at Reggie's October 2nd. Mastodon, Deaf Heaven, and Alcest at the Riviera Theater October 2nd as well. Periphery is at the Ramona Theater October 30th. I have a ticket, but not a costume yet. That's it!